1 year ago, they buried him. Today, Skip Bayless is ready to go to war for him.
He's deadly accurate. He has poise and command and just feel for making it happen. And he should have been the first overall pick. Cam Ward struggling at Tennessee. I promise you, Shedeur wouldn't be struggling at Tennessee the way Cam Ward is. I liked Cam Ward. I love Shedeur. When he gets his shot, he will seize it and make them all look like fools.
1 year ago today, I seriously thought that the Tennessee Titans with the first overall pick were going to take Shedeur Sanders. Silly me. And the biggest injustice in the history of the draft happened. And he fell, and he fell, and he fell some more into the fifth round. And I guess we've talked enough about that, but I'm still rooting for him. I still believe in him. So you mentioned the Browns maybe trading.
This wasn't just a bad draft decision. Skip called it, and I quote, the biggest injustice in the history of the draft. A quarterback with everything it takes passed over round after round until he hit the fifth. And the football world just watched. No outrage, no accountability, just silence. But Skip Bayless, he never forgot. And right now, he's making the boldest case of his career that Shedeur Sanders doesn't just deserve a shot, he deserves the shot. And what he's proposing, nobody saw this coming.
Okay, so Skip Bayless had to admit that the stats that Shedeur Sanders put up on the field did not warrant him a spot on the Pro Bowl roster. But at the same time, it was a genius move by the NFL because Shedeur probably has more fans than any player that will step on the field that day.
Backward from 6. What I would love to see is the Browns trading up 2 spots, and they've got 6 and 24. So it might take giving 24 to go up 2 spots with said Tennessee Titans, if they would back out of there, and give Shedeur Jeremiah Love. That would be the pairing that would make me happiest. I would just love to see the momentum of that. And it just would send a message, and I still don't even know if Shedeur is going to be able to beat out.
Let's go back exactly 1 year. The Tennessee Titans had the first overall pick. Skip Bayless, one of the most polarizing voices in sports, was convinced. He believed, right down to his core, that Shedeur Sanders was the guy, the future, the franchise quarterback Tennessee needed. It didn't happen. And then, something truly unprecedented unfolded on draft night. Shedeur Sanders didn't go in the first round. He didn't go in the second, not the third, not the fourth. Round after round passed, and one of the most talked about college quarterbacks in recent memory sat there, waiting. By the time his name was finally called, it was the 5th round. The 5th round. Skip Bayless described it simply, the biggest injustice in the history of the NFL draft. And if you watched that draft, if you felt that moment, you already know he wasn't wrong. But here's what makes this story different from every other draft day disappointment. Shedeur Sanders is still here, still fighting. And Skip Bayless, he never stopped believing. Fast forward to today, and Skip isn't mourning the past, he's building a future. He has a very specific vision for what needs to happen next, and it starts with the Cleveland Browns. Here's where it gets interesting. The Browns currently sit at pick 6. Skip's dream scenario, Cleveland trades up 2 spots, giving up their 24th pick to land at 4 with the Tennessee Titans, and with that pick, they take Shedeur Sanders. Simple, bold, emotional. But there's more, because Skip doesn't just want Shedeur in Cleveland. He wants Shedeur paired with Jeremiah Love, what Skip calls box office, a quarterback with surgical accuracy, a running back with generational explosiveness, together in the same backfield. Skip says it would do his heart good. After watching Shedeur fall in the draft last year, this pairing would feel like justice finally served.
Pro Football Focus all year ranked their offensive line dead last, and their receiving core dead last.
And that gives him no opportunity to succeed if he's not protected.
And for a running back,
even Love.
There's guys that are unique talents that can make a couple guys miss, but we saw Ashton Genty this year in Las Vegas. Still had some production, but when you don't have an offensive line blocking for you and you don't have a great scheme, it doesn't matter who's back there running the football. It's going to be tough to be productive. So I would prioritize offensive line and wide receiver.
I have a question, though.
Yeah.
Is Deshaun Watson better than Shedeur Sanders?
But not everyone in the conversation agreed with the fantasy, and that's when things got real. The counter-argument came hard and fast. The Browns don't just need a quarterback. Their offensive line finished dead last according to Pro Football Focus. Their receiving core, also dead last. You can draft the best quarterback in the world, but if he's running for his life every snap and throwing to nobody open, it doesn't matter. We saw what happened with Ashton Jeanty in Las Vegas this past season. Incredible talent, limited by his surroundings. And that's the brutal truth about Shedeur's rookie year too. Yes, there were moments where his decision-making looked shaky, but the argument, and it's a strong one, is that when your offensive line can't block and your receivers can't get open, you stop making the right play and start trying to make the big play. You force things. You try to be the hero because nobody else can be. That's not bad quarterbacking. That's survival mode. Give Shedeur real protection. Give him a real receiver, someone like Devin Tate, or even a veteran like DeAndre Hopkins who's being mentioned in Cleveland circles. And suddenly, his decision-making looks completely different. A quick slant that goes for 50 yards changes everything about how a quarterback plays. When you trust your weapons, you trust the process. But then came the question nobody wanted to ask. What about Deshaun Watson? Watson was once considered one of the most gifted quarterbacks in the entire NFL. Explosive, creative, dangerous. And then came the suspension, the injuries, the time away from the game. He hasn't played meaningful football in 2 years, and the Browns are still paying him like he's a franchise cornerstone. Here's where the conversation split. One side says, you've already seen what Watson can do. That chapter is written. Give Shedeur the keys from day one and let him grow. If he struggles early, fine. That's what rookie seasons are for. But start building now.
But that's like to what you're both saying. That's why it needs to be an open quarterback competition. OTAs, summer, fall camp. It needs to be an open quarterback competition. Whoever they think
they
gives
both
their
have
team
a lot
the best
to prove.
chance to win. They're the starter from day one. And I'm with you. If that guy doesn't pan out the first couple of weeks, then put the other guy in there, see what he can do, and then you might be back in the running next year to draft a quarterback in this quarterback-heavy draft class in 2027. But you've got to give both these guys an opportunity in the offseason to prove that they can be the guy. And to your point, too, I'll defend Shedeur a little bit, talking about his decision-making.
The other side says Watson at his best was something special. Talent like that doesn't just vanish. And maybe he can find his way back. Kirk Cousins came back from a torn Achilles. It's not impossible. But 3 torn Achilles moments? That's not just an injury. That's a different conversation entirely. Here's what everyone agreed on. Cleveland's new head coach, Todd Monken, needs to run a legitimate, open quarterback competition. No predetermined starter, no handed-over keys. OTAs, training camp, preseason, let Shedeur and Watson go head-to-head. Let the best man earn it. Because if this is going to work, it has to be earned, not given. And the momentum, everyone acknowledged, leans towards Shedeur. You can feel it. It's already there. The story writes itself. The comeback, the redemption, the kid who fell to the 5th round, walking into an NFL facility and out-competing a former star for the starting job. That is appointment television. That is what football is supposed to be. But none of it matters if Cleveland doesn't build around him first. So here's the real plan, and it might actually be the smartest one on the table. If Devin Tate is available at pick 6, you take him. You don't move, you don't trade. You take the receiver who fits the system perfectly. Then at 24, you grab an offensive tackle. Done. If Tate is gone, you trade back, you collect more capital, you build the line, you get a receiver at 12, maybe another at 20, and 2 tackles who can start day 1. Suddenly, you haven't just drafted a quarterback, you've built an offense. And then Shedeur Sanders walks into that offense, and everything looks different. This isn't a rebuilding project anymore. This is a contender forming in real time. 1 year ago, the football world counted him out. Round after round they passed, and somewhere in that draft room, a young quarterback sat there and waited, and kept waiting, and the only sound louder than the silence was Skip Bayless still believing. Now the question isn't whether Shedeur Sanders belongs in the NFL. The question is whether Cleveland is bold enough to give him what he was always owed. Because if they do, this story is just getting started.